Pied Piper leading the rats out of town is said to have occurred on this day, the 22nd of July, 1376. Must have been rocking the rats out of town. Good morning, everyone. It is 7:28 right now, and about this time every week, Jackie, we get at it politically with a Republican and a Democrat. Sam and Kevin are all primed and ready for yet another Tuesday morning. And Kevin, what are we tossing up here this morning?
Well, I think the big topic nationally going on politically is the immigration issue and what's going on at the border with these 57,000 kids from Central America and what to do about them. Of course, Governor Branstad had been asked about this his last 2 weeks at his press conferences, whether or not he'd be okay with having the kids sheltered here, and he's pushed back against that. And it's mainly because they're here illegally. You know, a lot of people in the Register has written some editorials about this, saying, well, you know, Iowa was very welcoming to the kids from Southeast Asia in the 1970s under Governor Ray, but it's a totally different situation. First of all, the federal government had invited those kids. They were coming from Vietnam. They're in the midst of a civil war. So that was done legally. Governor Branstad is of the belief that if we just accept these kids here now, it just opens it up to, you know, a never-ending tide of immigrant children coming here, and where does it all end? And I think the issue, really what it all gets down to, is the president and Congress need to do their job. They need to secure the border. If they would secure the border, we wouldn't be going through this. So
do you agree with Perry, Rick Perry, who was in our area not too long ago, now wanting to send troops to the border to take care of this?
Well, he has a serious problem in Texas. He was speaking in Algona on Saturday night at a Republican fundraiser up there, and he said since 2008, in his state alone of Texas, illegal immigrants have been cited 242,000 times for criminal acts since 2008. 3,000 of those have been homicides.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It's a major problem down there. And yesterday he said he's going to send 1,000 National Guard troops to the border to help secure it. He is demanding that the president do his job and secure the border. This is the federal government's job. It's outlined in the Constitution. They should be securing the border. They're not doing that. And he's spending, the last 3 weeks, they've spent $1.3 million per week, the state of Texas, to stem this tide. And now he's saying he's going to send 1,000 National Guard troops down there to try to secure the border and stop not just the flow of the kids coming here, but criminals, potential terrorists. There was a Texas official that last week 3 Ukrainians were found on her ranch in Texas that is right along the border. So, I mean, we don't know who's coming across there, but, you know, a terrorist with a dirty bomb could very easily sneak across there as well. It's a national security issue.
Well, bringing it back locally, Governor has spoken out, like you said, of we don't want those kids in our state, but there's other people who feel a little bit different about that, correct?
Right, and I think, obviously, I think both parties agree we need to secure the border. We need to make sure that people who are dangerous aren't coming over, but I don't think we need to use those examples, Ukrainians on farms, as a way to scare people away from accepting these children here. These are 57,000 children who are here alone. Many of these children are fleeing violence. They're coming here for a reason. They want to get away from something, and we have a responsibility as a country to, I think, welcome them, to obviously make sure that people who are here are not people who are committing crimes. But we have an obligation almost, and especially history here in Iowa. Obviously, it's not the exact same situation as the refugees, but we do have an obligation to find a way to welcome these people and find a better solution than just sending them back, to what they were fleeing. Sending them back into a situation where there's violence, where they fear for their lives, is not something that I think we as Americans want to do. And I think that's why you see so many people, especially in the faith community. There was a rally this week with faith leaders talking about how this is a moral issue, not just a political issue. That's why you see people doing that, because this is really an obligation for us to do the right thing here.
Because now there's a plan, I believe, for people to go to D.C. now in protest of this, talking about the deportation of immigrants coming to the U.S. illegally and stuff like that. So people are really getting behind it.
And ultimately, we need comprehensive immigration reform. That's the ultimate goal. We can't do this piece by piece. We can't, every time there's a crisis like this where people start coming across, we can't just deal with this one at a time. We need a comprehensive solution, which I think should include some sort of way for those here. I think the DREAM Act is a good start. We've seen the president implement parts of that. But obviously we need something overall that we can just address this situation, because
But the first step needs to be secure the border. Secure the border, then we can talk about immigration.
Would 1,000
reform.
people be enough? 1,000 troops
No.
be enough?
Probably not.
Okay.
But it's better than what the federal government is doing now. Yeah, I mean, it's a major problem. And in regards to the kids, I mean, President Obama himself said most of these kids are going to be deported. That's the official stance of the federal government. That's not what they're doing. In fact, U.S. House Republicans found out last week from the Immigration Services that of the Central American immigrant children that crossed the border last year, 65% of them were granted asylum immediately. That means they're here to stay. That means they're open to receive all kinds of, federal welfare benefits. So what the president's doing and what his administration, or what the president's saying and what his administration's actually doing are two entirely different things, which unfortunately happens too often with this president. But, it's not the job of Iowans to take care of all these children. I mean, we have impoverished children in our own country, even the president's hometown of Chicago, who are in violent situations. Let's take care of our own people first. Yes, the kids, something needs to be done. They need to be taken care of, but they need to be safely returned. I mean, the humanitarian thing to do might be to return them back to their families. I mean, there is no easy solution to this,
right.
and it should not be a political football, a left-right thing. Because obviously we're talking about kids, and we don't want anybody in harm's way. We want them to be safe, but tuberculosis is spreading amongst the kids down there. And again, if you just welcome these 57,000 kids, and they're saying it could be up to 90,000 by the end of the year, then the smugglers are going to look at that, and next year there's going to be 150,000. I mean, when does it ever end? The
floodgates will be open then?
Absolutely, the floodgates will be open. And that's what's going on right now. You have these traffickers down there in Central America who are saying, go to America or let us take you to America and they'll accept you. They believe President Obama is weak on this issue and that he will not deport them. And frankly, these kids are already being put into harm's way when they're turned over to human traffickers or drug cartels, drug traffickers, and traveling, 1,800, 2,000 miles across a desert. I mean, very dangerous situations. None of this would be happening if Congress and the president would just do their job and secure the border.
But we're not making it a political point, right? Because you just said don't make it a political football, and then you just attack the president.
But securing the border, it shouldn't be a political issue.
Right.
It's in the Constitution. It's the nation's law. Secure the border. That's just asking Congress to do their job. I didn't say asking the Republicans or the Democrats to do their job. I'm saying asking everybody, including the president, do your job, secure the border first, then we can figure out what to do. If the border was secure, we wouldn't be having this issue because they wouldn't be able to get across.
Do you think that's such an easy thing to do?
It's not an easy thing to do, but it's something that can be done through technology, through fencing, however they need to do it, sending National Guard troops down there, whatever they need to do, but it needs to be done.
We've been talking about a lot of presidential candidates making their way through, or potential presidential candidates. We were just talking about Rick Perry coming in and speaking in Algona. Anybody writing on RAGBRAI? I see we have a mayor from Texas who's kicking butt and taking names on the right. Anybody else making their way through RAGBRAI?
That would be a smart thing to do. And I think Sarah Palin might have, there was a marathon that she just very quietly, it was in Storm Lake a few years ago, very quietly entered and ran in a marathon a couple of years ago. But yeah, riding on RAGBRAI wouldn't be a bad thing to do.
Any Dems riding on RAGBRAI?
Not that I know of.
All right, just checking.
But they are they're starting to infiltrate the area.
Yeah, we had Rick Perry here over the weekend, and people might remember he was like the most talked about. I mean, he was the top of the list when he entered the race, and he got in very late in 2011, and he was the Republican frontrunner, and then just collapsed very quickly because he had the big oops moment that people remember during the debate, and struggled on the stump. But he was going through some health issues back then. He had just had back surgery and was on pain medication, that kind of thing. Totally different guy now. If you had seen him Saturday night and this weekend at the events, or last weekend at the events, totally different guy. Very natural. I think if he runs, he could be a force in the GOP primary. Chris Christie was here last week as well.
I don't think he's going on RAGBRAI.
No.
I'm just taking a stab in the dark.
You know what? He looks a lot better.
Does he?
He has slimmed down a lot.
Good.
And of course, he's taken tons of hits with the scandals in New Jersey, Bridgegate, and all that kind of stuff. And conservatives are not real fond of him, but judging from the reaction that I saw him get in Cedar Rapids and in Davenport last Thursday, if he decides to run for president, there will be a significant segment of the Republican population that I think will back him, because when it comes to charisma and connecting with an audience, he's almost unmatched in
has
American
that.
politics. He does have that. Conservatives aren't crazy about some of his stances, but it's going to be very interesting. And there's Ted Cruz and Rick Santorum and Bobby Jindal. All those guys are coming for the Family Leader event on August 9th. So.
Right.
The Republicans are coming in droves. Democrats are all waiting on Hillary Clinton.
Well, I think a lot of eyes are on Hillary Clinton to see what she does. Martin O'Malley was here for the state convention. He's back for some local fundraisers this week, and I think he's impressed a lot of people. I think he has a strong progressive record that people are really connecting with. So hopefully we'll see some more candidates.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. It is